If you want to create blog content, you need to be connected to the conversations in your niche. And we talked about this in earlier videos, but you want to know what people are saying about your product, your industry, what's important to your customers, what kind of problems they have, how you can help solve those problems. You want to be connected to other people in like niches and look at your competition. And iGoogle is one way that you can do that by collecting a bank of feeds in similar niches. But Google Alerts is also a very powerful tool. So if you just type in Google Alerts, Google will take you to this page here. And it's really simple. Anybody can do this, and it's free. You type in a search query and a little bit about it, and tell Google where to email you, and every time Google's bots go out and come across an indexed site that has that search query in the page, they'll send you an email and alert you that there's a web page out there with that content in it. I think everybody should do their name. You know, even if your name is you might even have two versions of your name, but Mindy Burgoyne is my name, and I like to have a Google alert on that because it lets me know if anybody's talking about me in particular and what they're saying. I can either thank them for saying something nice or try and understand why they didn't say something nice and correct the problem. So that's all you do. You want to say Google search everything, not just news, not just blogs, not just books or discussions. We want to search everything. Unless it's a search string that's going to have a whole lot of results, I like to use the once a day feature. That doesn't mean that Google's going to find something every day. It just means that it's going to notify, it's going to search daily and then notify you. And then only the best results. Then you click create the alert, and then Google will send you an email to that address, which you'll have to respond back to, verifying that you are in fact the one that requested the alert. And then you'll get things in your email like this. I have two Google alerts, one on thin places because I write about that concept a lot, places where the veil between this world and the eternal world is thin, and then I have my name. But just to give you an idea, this one came through on Valentine's Day, two links that had thin places in it. This one here was a very good link. This is a blog from the West Parish of Barnstable. It's the United Church of Christ. And in this was it's kind of like a sermon on thin places. But I noticed when I read through it that they are talking about the same kind of thin places I talk about, Celtic spiritual tradition. But they've actually quoted me in here. As I scrolled down here, I thought Mindy Burgoyne writes, and she takes this quote out of my website. And then she goes on to reaffirm this concept. So finding this, I can do a couple of things. And I would have never probably found this in a traditional search, right? One thing I can do is speak with this person. I can talk with her. This does allow for commenting. And commenting on it would be a good thing. Not just because I might connect with the poster, but also because other people might see my comments and talk with me. So I could make connections this way. The second thing besides commenting that I might want to do is email her and ask her, thank her for mentioning me and my quote, and ask her if she wouldn't mind linking that quote back to the website where she found it. And I would provide her with that link. This is very helpful for my websites and my visibility, and it's only fair. We should never take anybody's writing and repost it without putting the link to where that writing came from. It's just a courtesy. And then third, the one way that this might help me is I can just see what people are saying about this concept and understand a little bit more about my niche. So that was a good Google alert. Another good Google alert was this one here. And this one also just came in. This is a blogger whose blog is called Earthen Vessels. She's a spiritual blogger, and she did a post on thin places. And it's the same concept, the idea of thin places, places where places or spaces where divine presence is more profoundly experienced. That's right up my alley. I look over here and see that she's got other blogs on here that she's recommending. So it might be worth commenting on her blog post, which is here, writing a comment and thanking her for her insights and perhaps sharing one of mine. And then my website will come up, and again, we might create some conversation with some other people that follow her blog, or perhaps I'll just make a good connection with her, and we can from there build that relationship and learn from each other. There's one more down here, and that's this one. This is a link that actually isn't to a website, it's to a PDF from the Good Shepherd Institute, where they quoted me on thin places. So they were evidently studying this idea of thin places, and it's a white paper that tells a little bit about it, quotes me, and has some other good material in it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a blog post. So that tells you a little bit about how Google Alerts work. And they can certainly work for you. If you think about your blog and think, what kind of content am I going to have in here? Who's going to read it? What kind of problems do those people have? How can I solve those problems? And consider what you would search in Google to find that kind of content. And that will help you come up with a few query strings. So for this, after this lesson, you want to come up with 5 Google Alerts. One would be your name, one would be your blog name, and then the other 3 would be search strings that are applicable to content that will probably be on your blog. Partnership content, competitors content, customer niche content, and then enter those queries. Find yourself 5 Google Alerts. And that's all.